But then, there we go.
Yeah.
There he is. How do I promote him to panelist, right? Did it work?
That's weird. So everyone doesn't have their own personal.
All right.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. How is everybody doing?
Great, great.
Wonderful. It's been a while since we've all met. And I'm over here with my mask on.
Safety first.
That's right.
Okay, quick update, everyone. I was just on the phone with Ari. Daniel Dodge isn't able to make it today. We just heard from him earlier today that he wouldn't be able to make the meeting, and he's our chair. So Ari is our vice chair, but she's having trouble connecting. So she said, go ahead and start without her, and she'll connect as soon as she can. She's gonna try to restart her computer and whatnot. But with a 6-member JPA, we technically have quorum. I mean, I don't think there's really any major action items today, or if any. It's really just updates. So that being said, are there any board members that would like to step in as chair for today's meeting until Ari is able to connect?
Sure, Nick, I'm glad to do that.
Awesome. All right, take it away, Lowell.
Okay, Lowell Hurst here, veteran teacher, 32 years with the PVUSD. I was there before the current Mello Center was built. In fact, I was there at the earthquake event, and I got to know Henry Mello fairly well, and so I've tried to attend most of our joint meetings and encourage good partnerships and public access, and want to support all the good things that that Watsonville High and the school district does in joint partnership with the city of Watsonville and the community. And so why don't we get started with introductions first. Ms. Claire, could you lead us off?
Yes,
Dr.
definitely.
Fernandez?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Clara Fernandez and I'm the principal at Watsonville High School.
Claire, how would you like to have us address you? As Dr. Fernandez?
Clara's fine.
Thank you very much. Just call me Lowell.
Sounds great.
Andrea?
Here. I'm the Mello Center facility theater technician.
And a super helper for our site as well.
Excellent.
Wildcats.
Excellent. Would you like to us to refer to you as Andy?
Yes, please. That's perfect.
Wonderful. Mr. Webb, are you available?
I am, if I can get over my technical difficulties here.
You're not the only one, sir.
Can you hear me? I just
Yes,
imagine
sir.
you can.
We can hear
Yeah,
you.
I'm Gary Webb. I'm the Director of Maintenance and Operations for Pajaro Valley Unified School District.
Excellent. Welcome. Nick?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nick Kolobakiv, and I'm the Parks and Community Services Director for the City of Watsonville, and I'm here as a staff member to the JPA.
Thank you, Nick. Desiree?
Hi, yes, I'm Desiree Moyan, admin assistant here for the Parks and Recreation Office. I also am serving as staff and the secretary for the meeting today.
Well, thank you very much. And of course, this meeting will be recorded for note-taking on our convenience and something we can reflect back upon and build upon, I certainly hope.
Yeah.
I will, we've called the meeting to order. We have, do we need like an official roll call, Desiree, for your
Yes, please.
record?
Yes.
Who's conducting that?
All right, I will go ahead and conduct the roll call. Thank you for mentioning that, Lowell. Otherwise, I would have had to interrupt and said, wait, we need to take roll call. So,
Interrupt me at any time, please.
okay, so we will start off with Ari Parker. And you know what, actually, give me one moment. I apologize. Ari
Hopefully will be joining us very soon.
she is joining us hopefully right now. Ari, okay, so Ari, we are starting the roll call, and so it started off with yourself, Ari Parker.
Well, that was fun. Present.
Thank you. Lowell Hurst,
I'm here.
okay. Cindy Scissorlin. Daniel Dodge Jr. Clara Fernandez.
Present.
Gary Webb.
Here.
Wonderful, thank you.
Very, very good. That concludes our introductions. Ari, I was just stepping in as chair since neither one of Mr. Dodge or yourself were quite available, and we wanted to get the meeting rolling. So we've conducted roll call. We've had some brief introductions. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself to the group, and then we can move forward with the consent agenda.
And I will. Thank you, Lowell. I appreciate that. Hi, I'm Ari Parker. I am Mayor Pro Tem of Watsonville. as well as a teacher in the Pajaro Valley Unified School District. So, and having grown up here and all sorts of other things. But from this agenda, I'm looking at it. We have a consent agenda, which holds nothing. Am I correct at this point, Desiree?
We have our minutes for September. It was back in September 28th of 2020.
Okay, so approval of minutes of September 28th. I know many of you were not in attendance. Some of you were not in attendance, but we have at least a quorum that we can approve that with today. Okay, good. So then I'll take a motion.
I'm glad to move the minutes, approve the minutes.
Okay, a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And any other discussion upon it before we take a vote? Great. We'll take a vote then. Those in favor, say aye.
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 And those opposed, say nay. And if you wish to, I think it still counts as no anyway. If you wish not to vote yay or nay, you can let us know and we'll put that into our notes. So far, we're moving forward and we're going to move on to new business. You guys have had a chance to introduce yourselves, but I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to hear everybody. So if you don't mind, I take a quick moment and let people introduce themselves. And then there's only a couple of you I don't know.
Clara Fernandez here, principal at Watsonville High School.
Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And Gary Webb, the Director of Maintenance and Operations.
Great. And Gary, there's no way we can see your face just for a
actually-
second.
Sure, I suppose. I'm actually at home. I'm playing with my horses and whatnot, but here you go.
Well, you know, I'm
Hang
still
on, there
in
you
my
go.
classroom, way
all
past
right.
contract time. So,
Yep. Hang on. It says it
okay,
wants-
that would be great. Just so we know who you are. That'd be wonderful. I really appreciate
it's
that.
telling me it can't access my camera.
Okay. Okay, another time.
I will work on it while we're talking.
Well, that's okay. It's just nice to be able to see you because you're new to our district. You're new to us as a group as well. Okay, so are there any members of the public that would like to address this body at this time? And have any public input? No,
Yeah.
there are not. Okay, well, I just want to make sure we go through with it. And then we need so oral communications from the committee itself. Now it says here, as I was looking through it, that if a member wants to place any matters on future agendas, they can do that through oral communications. Is that correct, Desiree? And Nick? Okay. So that may be something that, and we can also add at the end of our meeting, is that as well? So if things come up, we can also add for the next agenda. All right, so do we have any communications from the folks on this committee at this time? I recognize you, Lowell Hurst.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank the committee members for persistently hanging in there with us. And I know Mr. Webb and Dr. Fernandez are new to this wonderful experience. You know, the Mello is quite the anchor of the community in many, many ways.
Mhm.
We're under a great disadvantage with the COVID restrictions and such, but someday, hopefully, all those restrictions will ease. And once again, those 500 plus seats can be filled and joy will flow from the Mello as Henry Mello certainly intended. And all the participants that made the Mello Center happen as well. And so I just want to say welcome, and maybe Mr. Webb can send us his photo headshot. I'm sure he's got some wonderful photos, so we can actually see what the heck he looks like. Okay.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, sir. That
Well,
concludes
Gary,
my
you know,
remarks.
it's pretty funny. It's not just that, it's just that you're new to the district and everybody's talking about it, and it's nice to be able to put a face to the name.
No, I mean, Clara can tell you, I'm nothing to look at. So
We've seen some fine looking maintenance directors over the years, and we're interested in who the heck you are.
All right, that'll be fun.
You can handle it, huh? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay,
Any
Pete.
other members of the committee would like to have any communications? at this time? No? Okay, then we're going to move on to our facility status updates, and who will be doing that?
I can lead us off, and
Okay,
I can first say I think this is the most fun we've had at a JPA meeting so far. So thank you for our animated chairs today. We have this on the agenda really just to provide some updates, I think, all around on what the current status is of the Mello in terms of being able to book future events and that sort of thing. I don't really have a whole lot of anything to report on that, but wanted to invite Clara or Andy to maybe talk through what's going on currently and what the district's thoughts are on future events, given the state of things with COVID and everything else.
Well, I'll kick off if that's okay, Dr. Fernandez.
Please go for it, Andy. Thank you.
Okay, so right now we've got a number of community events waiting for confirmations. To dance recital, usual community producers, Wings Dance Studio and Studio E. Those are later in the year, so nothing pressing. The Santa Cruz Symphony is returning. Their first concert will be October 24th. So we really need to figure out how to coordinate an agreement for them. I think that's the big item for our discussion today. We have about 10 Watsonville High School events in the works. I haven't reached out to everyone just yet because we've been super busy and the teachers are just back and students are just back. So I expect those are going to go up exponentially soon. Right now, what we've told the Symphony is we're following all the CDC and district guidelines for events. So as long as everyone wears masks inside the Mello Center, we're comfortable with that at this point. So we're waiting to see if anything changes with that. Let's see what else. We hosted a PVUSD bus training. That was our first event earlier this month. So that was very exciting. They were our test group for the new protocols here. So beyond that, I can tell you, we didn't have any events last year, so there's no money in the works for any kind of repairs. And I think with all the transitions in maintenance and PVUSD in general, we haven't gotten to the repairs we earmarked with funding from last year's events or the year before. And those were a focus on the house lights and the aisle lights. And carpet was one of the other items that needs to be addressed sometime soon. And there were a couple other items marked, but they were much less urgent than the lighting. So I'm hoping once our PVUSD counterparts have a chance to catch up in maintenance that we can start tackling some of our needs here with those funds from the city. And other than that, we had a whopping year in the last couple of years before COVID hit. I had tallied up all the events, but I didn't have a chance to look at that this week. So maybe we can talk about that next week and I can go through it with Dr. Fernandez and kind of see where we are with the load of work at the Mello. But this year we've got a lot of money for different maintenance repairs. I've got a lot of paint now and paint supplies. So I'm very excited to start painting and making the Mello look even nicer than it is. And a lot of little repairs. So there's a lot going on over here, even though nothing's happening on stage so much.
Andy,
Yes.
do you have work? Can you all see me now?
we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Is that better? There we go. This thing
Yeah,
doesn't orient correctly.
it's great.
Do you have work orders in for all of those small jobs that need to be done?
I don't. This started when we still had Joe Dominguez. Can't remember his name.
Yep.
That was it.
Okay. Well, some point in time, we should probably sit down together and go over what you need.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's great. So is anyone else? Dr. Fernandez, are you gonna?
No, pretty much what Andy mentioned is the current status of where we stand in terms of any guidelines when it comes to safety protocols. Mask wearing at the moment, no social distancing per se. no proof of vaccination. So I think at least going back to the symphony, they were very cautious about proceeding with the use of the Mello Center, because obviously they want to really make use of the entire, Mello Centers without having any mandates around social distancing, which at the moment we don't have any. So depending on how things go, things might change, of course. Things are very fluid right now. But we're anticipating having them here October, the first day, and it will be in October. So that's pretty much where we are at. And as Sandy mentioned, we do have other folks reaching out, but we haven't gotten too far out in terms of what we obviously confirm or not, for that matter. And yes, Andy has been doing a fabulous job keeping the Mello Center looking as best as she can with painting and whatnot, the dusting, just the upkeeping of it. So that's what we have from our end.
Okay, that's great. And from this one, future replacement expenditure plan, I don't know if that's different, but when we're talking about revving Andy up so she can get things done, then we have to talk budget, right? A little bit. And we have to start with some kind of budget. Is that included? Andy, have you worked up the costs for the different items that you mentioned, the lights, the carpet? I know you said that was, lights were priority.
Right,
And then you have a whole bunch of small stuff.
right. So because of the transitions with the maintenance department, we haven't gotten an assessment of costs. Carpeting was the one that someone came out and said it was going to be like $20,000.
Uh-huh.
So I'd like to see if there's another way to figure out how to fix the seams in the carpets. The carpets look pretty good, but the seams are coming up. So a tripping hazard is there, not quite there yet, but definitely needing attention. So that's what I'll work with Gary on, kind of sitting down and figuring out how to tackle the outstanding ones that we've earmarked last year.
Okay.
And again, that was house lights, aisle lights. Now I'm forgetting something.
You said house lights, aisle lights, and carpet. in that order.
Yes, those are the priorities. They're all safety issues. So those are the highlights.
And then all the other little things that,
Correct.
that you mentioned. And then, and I am not quite clear on how, what our agreement is on going back. So let's talk about the next one. Oh, wait, is there anyone who has any questions?
So
I just had one. Go ahead.
Mr. Lowell Hurst.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Gary for his willingness to sit down with Clara and Desiree and go over all the fine details of the work orders. You know, that's where the rubber really meets the road. So I'm sure there's many things that need a touch up and some major stuff as well. You know, the Mello Center has had a few years of wear and tear, and I'm sure it shows it in some ways. And if I can just offer some advice to Dr. Fernandez to keep the food and the drink out of the facility, that helps a great deal on carpet and seats. And you know, when you have guests, I know the symphony won't be a problem at all, but it's always hard to police all the guests and some of the performers as well. You know, sometimes equipment tends to walk off, microphones, anything that's not nailed down. And so that's always an issue. And I'm sure there's lots of stuff that needs to be replaced. I just want to make sure that community and school district are getting along well and working on our mutual goals together and making sure that there's the public access is available and that our agreement is up to date as well. Things do change occasionally, and let's have a chance to review the agreement at some time and take a look at both sides of the budget equations too. Thank you.
I had a quick question. You guys had a bus event there for all the bus training. How many people attended?
They had about, I'll say 50 bus drivers.
And how many people attend the normally the symphony?
The symphony historically has been pretty much sold out. So we're talking 780 seats.
Okay.
I don't know what their numbers are like the last 2 years with all the COVID
Right.
concerns.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Appreciate all that information. Moving on, unless there's any other comments or questions.
So
I just had,
Okay.
go ahead, Andy.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, just in terms of facility status update, what we really need is a rental agreement. And so we'll talk about that. I'm assuming maybe under operational agreement check-in, but I need to know how we're going to move forward with events.
Rental agreements. Okay,
Historically, City of Watsonville in the last year, once PVPAA dissolved, City of Watsonville was taking on coordinating community events. And so I know their situation's been challenging with staffing. So I'm assuming we, need to talk about that.
well, let me clarify with Nick. Nick, could you clarify that last, I vaguely remember pre-pandemic that was a conversation, but that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And so could you, whatever memory you have of where we left that?
Yeah, I'm going to try because yeah, just like you, my brain is pretty foggy pre-pandemic at this point. But okay, so if I recall correctly, between 2017 and 18, the city and the district had worked together to try to figure out what would happen in terms of management of the Mello and community events after PV Performing Arts Association dissolved. And where we landed in discussions with the two agencies and eventually the reformation of the JPA is that the city would take on responsibility of booking all community use of the Mello. And the arrangement was basically that we'd use funds that were collected or revenue that was collected from community groups' use of the Mello to first and foremost, offset costs for both the city and the school districts for use of the facility. So any staff time, janitorial costs, and so forth would be covered by those rental fees. And then anything that was net after that, after those kind of direct expenses for use, would be put into a fund for future replacement. So when Andy's talking about the funds that we have available for lights, the JPA at its last meeting or maybe the meeting before that voted to use, I think it was about $4,000 that was net from that first year of operation to use that $4,000 towards replacement of lights at the facility. During our last JPA meeting back in September, and this I think stems back to conversations from I think even the meeting before that or two meetings before that when Joe was still with the district. At the very beginning of COVID and even before that, we were having conversations about pivoting the agreement and giving the district back responsibility for booking community use of the facility, with the kind of caveat that the city would have access to the building on a set number of weekends and weeknights throughout the year for additional community use and city programs and meetings and that sort of thing. So that's the agreement that's currently in place and has been adopted by the JPA. We've got this on the agenda tonight again, just to kind of discuss whether or not that's the direction we want to continue to go, or if we want to make some changes and whatnot. So the agreement that we were using for community use back when the city was managing that was a standard rental agreement that we had put together. If the district's going to continue to do that, we can definitely share that agreement and we can make whatever changes and updates we need to. I think the other alternative is we could discuss reverting back to kind of the pre-COVID model where the city manages use of the facility by outside groups. We've done some rearrangement with our team and I think have the ability to do that if there's the need to do that, but are fine with running with what we've got in place right now too. So I'll leave it up there at that. And I think Gary had some questions too.
Yes, Gary.
Oh, no, I was just going to say regarding when Andy was talking quite a bit earlier about the facility stuff. I've seen a lot of purchases come through card desk for approval for the maintenance supplies. And I just wanted to say that I have a new buyer that I hired and he's really, really good. And I'd like to extend the offer of using him when you need to find, because what I've tasked him with doing is finding the absolute best price and availability on all of our goods that we buy. So when you guys have something that you can't find or you need to find better prices on, he's available for use.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. What's his name?
Tomas Andrade.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I really
You have
I'm a
high
stickler for
confidence in
cheap.
him, which is
Oh,
good
yeah.
because we all need a deal.
It's
No matter how
5
much money
o'clock.
we have coming in. Operational, we're gonna move on then. We have this future replacement expenditure plan. And I'm, all I can think of is that what it's talking about? We're talking about lights, we're talking about carpet, we're talking about what monies? You mentioned, Nick, $4,000 at the last time we met, that's what we put for. What do we have in our net profit, little fund? What is
Well,
there in that
I
fund?
can, last year we received $4,476.55. So that's going toward those things we earmarked, so lighting and the carpet, but mostly lighting.
Mostly lighting. And how much more do we need then to complete that process?
We're hoping the lighting will resolve with some quick fixes. It hasn't been really assessed. So I doubt $4,400 is going to cover it, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And maybe by the next time we meet, we'll have some actual numbers for you all.
Okay, because I think that's what we need, right, to move forward. We need those actual numbers.
Yeah,
Um,
so
and-
that was approved for expenditure last year. So once we start, that money comes from the community events. So a small portion comes from each producer that comes through. And then that money has traditionally gotten transferred from the city of Watsonville to PVUSD to make those things happen. So we're kind of just waiting to gear up and get back on the repair bike.
Okay, so this meeting is really just about an overview, it seems like, and introductions, and just a plan of action of how we're going to move forward, rather
Yes.
than any concrete voting or money giveaway. Yay! We wanna have
Yeah.
some- I know.
Well, I think last time we met, the wording was that we were taking a 6 months to kind of have
Yeah.
PVUSD evaluate taking over the management of community events.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be challenging for us. I think we might be able to come to some creative solution between the city and PVUSD, but I don't know where to start with that.
Okay, so it does sound from what Nick said, and community services, that they have reallocated their personnel and they have the option right now, right, Nick? From what we heard, that the city would be able to take over that booking role and move forward with it. Is that correct, Nick?
Yeah, I think that's definitely an option. I think what I'd suggest is if the district wants to kind of move in that direction, or at least kind of figure out some other options for how to operate that work for the district. It might be good for our team to get with Andy and probably Clara between now and the next meeting and just talk through options, and then we come back to the JP and propose next steps and changes to the agreement.
Okay, so we have moved on to 5E, which is operational agreement check-in, and we are indeed checking in with each other now. And there looks to be some kind of a meeting that's going to take place for our notes between Nick, Dr. Fernandez, and Andy. Is that correct? And from that, there will be options or a suggestion of an explicit way to move forward. So we may discuss that at our next meeting. Is that correct? Okay, that's great. Is there anybody else who would like to comment upon that? Mr. Hurst.
Let me get unmuted. I just want to make sure that the symphony can move forward if, in fact, if that's feasible and possible under the existing conditions. And I think our current agreement model and our contract, our users agreement should be able to do that. And I know the symphony's been in there before, so they ought to know the drill. And hopefully that'll be a little bit of a kickoff, and good things will flow from that. If in fact, things don't get worse COVID-wise between now and then. So that's a lot of unknowns, but anything to move forward and to, bring the Mello back to life and bring life back to the Mello, I think is a priority, hopefully for everyone. I just want to emphasize the opportunities that will present themselves in the future. I've been to so many outstanding performances, lectures, workshops, seminars in the Mello that are, some of them are certainly appropriate for the school population and the parents. Well, it's a wonderful facility. We should do everything we can to maintain it and bring it up to speed and have great partnerships and make sure the community really treasures the jewel on Beach Street. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Are there any other comments or? Okay, so it seems to me that we were at a quarterly, weren't we doing this quarterly? And it seems to me we may not be able to do quarterly at this time because we need to come to some agreements in a timely fashion. So any suggestions about when our next meeting will take place? A month from now?
I think that sounds good to me, about a month. That'll give me time to coordinate if it's time for us to meet and be ready for our next meeting to provide you all with an update.
Okay, so a month from now, how about the 22nd of September? Is that a date? 22nd of September.
The first day of fall, that works.
Yeah, okay.
22nd of September.
22nd of September.
Ari, I'll be at the League of Cities conference in Sacramento, but please move forward without me. I think it's important that that we have, good participation, and I don't have to be at every meeting. I can express myself in lots of other ways.
Well, you and I can talk because I won't be at League of Cities. I'll be here, and
That's good.
if it works for everybody else, we'll do that,
Do it.
and then you and I can talk, or maybe you can even call in if the time frame works. Okay.
Well, they have a busy social agenda at the League of Cities,
Okay, we'll take it on a minute by minute basis when you get there. Anyway, so the
But
22nd.
in the meantime, if we can move the agreement forward with the symphony and whatever else is waiting in the wings, I just don't want to hold anything up, but I don't want to move too fast either. I just hope that there's a will and a way to open the doors and get the lights on, and someone could step up to the mic.
Yeah, and I think I think we're all there with you. And Nick, you have the rental agreement that we used previously. You were going to forward that to Andy.
Yes, we'll do
And
right
then
now.
you'll have a discussion. I don't think there's any changes except for, well, and Dr. Fernandez would know, we have outbreaks everywhere with the COVID, with our new variant, and we don't know quite where that's going at this time. But by, a few weeks from now, we'll have a little bit better handle. And I would only think that there's something that you should put into that rental agreement, a caveat, that if that happens, then we need to institute those changes per health restrictions.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
Are you talking about
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
one thing we've done for our facilities rental, or we're going to be doing, is adding in a custodial fee for sanitizing the facilities after use. So we probably want to get that in whatever agreement or arrangement you guys make for renting the facilities, that there'd be a custodial fee for disinfecting.
Okay, so
after events.
you'll send that on, whatever, to have Andy include, and then we'll have some.
I think Clara and I should probably talk and look over the facilities use process that we have now for other facilities.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sure, Andy, let me recognize you have your hand up. Thank you.
yeah, just for Gary, the Mello agreements have always been separate from the facilities maintenance process. And we'd love to maintain that. I'm happy to talk to you about it and see what the benefits are. I did get the agreement from the city of Watsonville last year, and I have updated it to read from PVUSD. I just don't know how complicated it is to get a new agreement approved through PVUSD. So I'm wondering if just for the symphony, if we could revert back to the city of Watsonville agreement. I'm happy to, maybe we need to meet with Nick like next week to figure out how to move forward quickly, at least for the symphony. Everyone else, I think, can wait another month or two, but I really need to firm things up for the symphony.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a possibility. I don't know. I mean, I kind of need to see exactly what that looks like, but yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I don't know why it would.
Yeah, and I think what I'm hearing from Andy, it's like, well, I think the discussion needs to be had, how it was separate. And although we reimburse for facilities, that there's some issue maybe with the need. It depends on the need with our health guidelines to have it sanitized, right?
Yeah, that's
And-
exactly what I'm talking about. It's like,
Right.
as soon as
But I
it's
don't
not
know
required,
if,
then
I don't know at that time if we will have that need to have it sanitized, or they'll say, no, that's fine. It's just a matter of, you know, the agreement. So does everyone on here think it's okay? They're fine with Andrea and Nick getting together, meeting, and Gary having input into that. He can read and get updated on where we were, where we are, and where we're going, and come to an agreement. Would that work for everyone involved?
works for me.
Okay. All right.
No,
So we'll leave that up to your programming, Nick and Andrea. I'm sorry, that's where you are on my screen.
Great. Yeah, I'll reach out to the team at Watsonville High, and we'll work on scheduling a meeting. And then just another quick note, Andy, for the actual agreement with the symphony, I don't think we brought that form to the JPA for approval necessarily. I think we can make changes to that actual agreement at the staff level without coming through this group to get approval. So.
Okay. Okie doke. And I appreciate everybody's input. It sounds like we did a little more talking and a little bit more organizing. And thank you, Andrea, for keeping us moving forward. And I agree with Councilman Hurst. It's a jewel, and it's something that those of us who lived here before knew what we didn't have. Now we know what we have, and it's a beautiful place. So I'm looking to our date is September 22nd for our next one. And should we keep it at the same time? Is 4:30 good for everyone?
It works well for me.
Yeah, 4:30?
Yes, that works.
Yep, and we'll keep it at 4:30 then. Are there any more comments? And of course, I guess you can send to Desiree if you would like anything on the agenda
Yes, please.
that is not on the agenda as of now, because we've talked about a few things to come back. And welcome Gary with his picture. Appreciate that. And very nice to meet you, Dr. Fernandez.
Likewise, thank you. Thank you for being
All right.
part of it.
And with that, I guess we will conclude our meeting, and thank you everyone for your attendance.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Nice.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Desiree.
You.
For setting it all up. Appreciate
I'll
that.
be sending that invitation out for the next meeting too.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.